circling above. They all in the beast, but they don't even know my name. Won't get
We're here.
Right for the train. Cloudy, ride to the airport. Gotta get right for the plane. Customs, not like wife in your hand.
We are here. Man, life has gotten very busy and very fast, very quickly. I got home at 4 a.m. last night, woke up at 8, had to get a haircut because I hate myself and, you can't look too bad. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I just get a lot of haircuts. I don't know what to tell you. My hair grows very fast. So I got a haircut and now I'm back here in the studio. It's about 10:30. Then I have an appointment at 12:30. Then I have an appointment at 2:30. Then I'm going to meditate because you can't skip that shit. Oh, yeah, let me tell you something. In the last year, hold on. Let's see how many days I've missed meditating. I'm going to flex right now. So hold on. I've meditated 358 days in the last year and a couple of months. 7,000 meditation minutes, 400 sessions. So how many? 400 sessions, 365 days. Well, that's a lot. It's a lot. I don't miss that many. I haven't missed that many days. So I meditate. I get it in. And we got to get it in today, especially as life gets busy. We got to get it back in. I got a little housekeeping. We have merch at bigmoodcoach.com. It's shop, and we have hoodies. We have the HOE men's shirt and women's shirt. We have the we have the crew neck HOE shirt, crew neck Big Mood shirt, and we have the crew neck podcast logo. It's me. It's a graphic. If you want it, you can have it. If you don't want it, I thought it was cool. It's my face, and that's how egocentric I am. Selling merch with my face on it. God, can you get any more attention? Do you need any more attention? But today's podcast is easily themed. I got my hand tattooed. Take a look at that. Covered up. Boom. I got my leg tattooed. Got a serious infection in my leg. Went in the ocean the day after I got tattooed. My son wanted to go in. And I had to go in with him. And I got a mean infection. I fear it went down to the bone. So we are going to go to the doctor. I went to the doctor once, got antibiotics. So it's fighting the infection, but I just want to make sure I go to the doctor again before I go underway. I heard a sailor friend of mine say she's going underway, where she goes on the ship and just doesn't come back for a while. And I'm going underway in a certain sense. I've been working with this client, very time-consuming. That's what's keeping me so busy. This sober companionship work that I'm doing now. I'm in this field. This is the job that I do. I'm loving it. It's exciting. It's chaos. It's completely outside of myself. I have no time for my own chaos because I'm focused on somebody else's chaos. So I'm going underway next week where I'll be full-time living with this gentleman, and it'll be interesting. And hopefully I'll be recording one podcast a week from our location. I can't say where we're going to be, but I think I'll record one podcast a week. Got the GoPro, got the ring light, got the mic. So we're all set up to record. Hopefully we can get it in. I'm going to wake up at odd times and record so I can fully focus on him. What else? That's housekeeping. But today's episode is going to be super easily themed. I was at a meeting last night, and someone said something very fucking clever, and it's very true in all aspects of your life. It doesn't matter what the fuck you're thinking. It matters what your feet are doing. Ooh, that's bars. Don't you wish sometimes you hear something like, I wish I came up with that? It's so fucking good. It doesn't matter what the fuck you're thinking. It matters what your feet are doing. What actions are you taking? And that makes me think of all the years I was doubting myself, all the years I was telling myself in recovery, telling myself that I wasn't shit. My friend said when you're not treating your addiction or your alcoholism, you're going to talk more shit about yourself than any person you've ever met. And that is absolutely true. I talk so much shit about myself during my building process, but it didn't matter because what my feet were doing were in action. I was in action because that's what recovery teaches you. Recovery teaches you to be in fucking action. So it doesn't matter what the fuck you're thinking right now. It doesn't matter what dumb shit your brain is telling you. It matters what your feet are doing. What are your actions? And what are some actionable steps? What are some actionable steps? You know, I tell my friends when they're struggling with certain things, I say, stand the fuck still. Stand the fuck still doesn't actually mean literally stand the fuck still. Stand the fuck still means taking recovery actions, taking healthy actions, working out. Just work out. Just meditate. Just do whatever 12-step program. Just go to therapy. Don't make any decisions. Don't date anybody. Don't fuck anybody. Don't take any new jobs. Don't start any new projects. Stand the fuck still and focus on getting well. You know, but it doesn't matter what the fuck you're thinking because my brain lies to me. My brain lies to me every day. My brain lies to me. I go to places and my brain says everybody hates me. Right? So my brain says everybody's talking about you. Nobody wants you around. That's what my brain tells me. My brain tells me that why you doing this podcast is stupid. My brain tells me that, but it doesn't matter what the fuck I'm thinking. It matters what I'm doing. You show up in this bitch and you go off. Let that bitch breathe. Rah, rah, rah. That shit is bars, bro. That shit is bars. And I'm speaking 3 different times this week, and I'm just trying to get inspiration. I'm speaking, and I don't want to say the same thing 3 times in a row. So I'm thinking about what I'm going to talk about. Another quote I heard this week that's got me fired up is we suffer more often in our imagination than in reality. So that makes me think, how much of my suffering was in my mind? Most of it, you know, that doesn't take away that it's suffering. Depression is suffering, but depression is in your mind. My life circumstances might not be terrible, but my suffering was in my mind. That's interesting to think about. That's just interesting to think about. If you take the shackles off your mind and you think more positively, if you understand that your suffering is in your mind, does that liberate you from your suffering? I don't know. But that's something, that's Seneca, Roman philosopher. Shout out to Missy Bunch. She's on the podcast. Just had a baby. Congratulations when she posted that. It's a very good quote. Drinking my green bean coffee. But so much of my suffering was in my fucking imagination. Exactly. No one cares about you. Everybody would be better off without you. No one likes you. No one wants you around. No one wants you to hear your podcast. No one gives a fuck. You can't do it. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't, don't be here. That's suicide attempts have been, 2015, it was like, you're never going to succeed. You're never going to make it. No one wants you around. You're better off with no one around. And that the actions after that were devastating. But I've changed. It doesn't matter what I think anymore. It doesn't matter the lies that my brain tells me. My brain tells me fucking lies. And so does yours. I know your brain tells you lies. I know some of the most wise people that their brain tells them you can't do it. Doesn't matter if your brain tells you can't do it. What the fuck are your feet are doing? What are your feet doing? In 12 Steps, they talk about trudging the road to happy destiny. All the stuff I talk about is 12 steps up that I apply in every aspect of my life. So I can't help but talk that language. I was talking about that with a friend last night. This is just the way I think of the world. It's not all I do because I don't do this. I don't do this all day, every day. But it's all I think. It's the way I think. But it talks about trudging. And what trudging means is walking with purpose. You put the book back on. I've talked about this on the podcast. You put the book back on, you walk through the snow, and you walk through the rain, you walk up the mountain, you walk down the mountain, you walk through the river, and you trudge the road. Doesn't matter what your fucking brain is thinking. It matters what your feet are doing. Keep walking forward. I think we got a title for the podcast. And shout out to that dude for inspiring me. I love, Karen shared last week that everything that we say is just a reiteration of things that we've heard. And I'm so grateful that I have inspiration every day to be creative and to apply to my own life. I could write a book on things that I'm inspired by that I hear in 12-step, so fucking inspiring. So I'm just telling you, it doesn't matter what you're thinking. Your brain is going to lie to you. It's going to tell you, you can't do it. You're not good enough. You're not smart enough. No one wants you. No one wants to hear you. No one who gives a fuck what you think. What the fuck are your feet doing, dog? You come in here, you record, you pack your bag, you put your book bag on, you keep moving forward. Bars. We'll just let that bitch breathe. Shout out to Karen for saying one of the most profound, and maybe she stole it too, which is fine. One of the most profound things I've heard on this podcast. I was a scream looking for a mouth. I'm like, that, hearing that blew my fucking mind. I just wanted to be heard, and I didn't know how to be heard. I didn't know what to do to be heard. And so much of my screaming, so much of my agony came out in such destructive ways. And now I have a mouth. Now I have a mouth, and I have a brain, and I have a mind, and I have a soul, and I have friends, and I have a community. And now I have me. I was a scream looking for a mouth. Shout out to that podcast, because I didn't even have to fucking talk during that podcast. I was just enamored with that story. And if you didn't listen back, listen to Karen B's story. That shit was fire. And that's the magic. That's the fucking magic. I said it yesterday, talking to some people, that every day I get to go to a place and I get to be around people and watch motherfuckers change their life. So when I talk about motivational rah-rah bullshit, it's not fucking crystals and healing and self-love and all the fucking buzzwords. It's not that. It's tangible, hearing people's voices change, hearing their words change, seeing their minds change, seeing their bodies change. I was 165 pounds when I got here. I was a wild animal. I had to wear sunglasses throughout my treatment because I could not look at you in the eyes. And now I can look at this camera and speak. And now I can stand in a group, in front of any group of people, anywhere, any group of people, whether it's professional, personal. I can stand in any group of people, and I know I'm no longer a scream with a mouth. I am thoughts with a mind and a soul. Fuck. Thank you for that. She really, that was profound. But yeah, I get to watch tangible transformation. I'm so lucky for that. I'm so grateful. There's a song I was listening to. I'm always looking for inspiration. And when your back is against the wall, this is going to sound so corny, but when your back is against the wall, you know it's going to be a rough road, but it ties in again. What are your feet doing? It reminds me of football when I was playing offensive line, you hit someone and that person feels like a brick wall. But it doesn't matter how solid that person is. They would say, chop your feet. What are your feet doing? And then if you stop moving your feet, you're going to end up pancake. You're going to end up on your ass. That's the motivation today. Just keep those feet moving, dog. Trudge the road to happy destiny. All stolen. None of this is mine. This is all just inspiring my life right now. And I'm speaking on 3 different occasions, and I know what I'm speaking about. I'm going to tell you guys what I'm speaking about, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the things that I'm speaking about this week. Where are they at? Breathing on the microphone. So, talking about a spiritual life and a spiritual experience. I don't have a monopoly on spirituality, but in some literature that I read, it talks about the educational variety. And I've had a number of spiritual experiences that have been profound. Let me tell you, my first spiritual experience was in rehab when I suddenly realized it was as if it was that quick that I realized that I didn't have to reach in my drawer next to me and put a needle in my arm in order to live. I was like, what? You're telling me that I don't have to get high to get out of bed anymore? My mind was blown. My mind was blown. That was one of the most profound experiences. I'll remember that experience until the day that I die, where the switch flipped and I started working out, and I went vegetarian while I was in there, and went to every group and did everything suggested. Because something switched, a flip switch, and I will tell you this honestly. Before I go back to that life where I have to reach in my closet, reach in my drawer to live my life, I'll jump off that bridge. Fuck that. I'm free right now. I'm free. I woke up this morning like the Manchurian candidate. Boom, in the shower, ready to go. Get fresh. Wrap your leg up because my shit's infected as fuck. Put some cream on your hand. Get in the shower. Wash your body. Get a haircut. Move. I'm free. I'm free. That's what I teach my clients. My clients have a very small life. I came to California with a very small life. Came to California with a duffel bag and a book bag filled with syringe caps and Xanax, pouring out the fucking seams. That's what I came here with, and I went to sober living. I shared a room with this guy, fucking crazy Brad, and lived with 8 guys in a bunk bed, and had a very small life in that duffel bag and in that book bag. And slowly I got my parents set my computer out, and I got a little bit, my life got bigger, and I went to outpatient treatment. I was in outpatient for 6 to 9 months. And I got a bicycle. And I rode my bicycle around Palm Springs. Very small life. Then I got a car. Then I got a beautiful girlfriend. Then I got an apartment. Then we started living in a house. And then I met my partner now, and she had a son. Now I have a child. And I have a child, and then I go to San Diego. Now I have a city I live in. Now I'm in San Diego. Now I have a business. And then my business has grown. Now I have one faction of my business and another faction of my business and another. And now I'm in this new business, this new industry. Now I have financial freedom. And I have this podcast where I can speak freely, where my family couldn't speak freely. I'm not saying they can't. I was talking to my family about that. It's not that they cannot. It's that they function within the system, and they're changing the system from within it. But I get to say blackity black shit on here. I get to talk about how people are savages. I get to talk about being heroin addict. I get to talk about suicide attempts. I get to talk about all that shit. I am free. I started with a very tiny life. Very small. And when I was in New York City, to be in such a big city, I always tell people, New York City is a cold-ass city. I have friends that still belong to the streets that they're going to get eaten. They're being eaten right now. I don't even know if they're going to make it. I have one friend left. All the rest of my friends are dead or sober. But to be in one of the biggest cities, most populated places on the planet, it was a very small place for me. I was confined to that drawer and that pouch where I kept all my needles and my bags. And you grow your life. That's really what my life has been dedicated to, personal fucking development. We talked about that last week. It's all growth. It's all what your feet are doing. It doesn't matter what you're thinking. Just keep those fucking feet moving. Grow your life. We're talking about being free out here. But I'm going to talk about a spiritual life this week, what that looks like, what my spiritual life looks like. My spiritual life has gone through phases. And, I did meditation workshops where I meditated for hours on end for a whole weekend. Initiated into spiritual practices, worked with shamans and healers, did that. I did spiritual boot camp was that last year? This year's emotional boot camp, but the year before was spiritual boot camp. It was spiritual boot camp. Even though, despite not being a Christian, I went to Christian church Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Sunday, sometimes 4 days a week. Went to Christian church. Did a Bible study. and then started that meditation practice in that app and meditated almost every day, never missed a day. 10 minutes, then 20 minutes. Then I've gotten to the point where I can go 70 minutes, 80 minutes, 2 hours of meditation, lucid. Sometimes I fall asleep, but that's part of the game. Charge it, rah. Let that bitch breathe. That's part of meditation. Sometimes you fall asleep. But spirituality looks different for everybody. But at this point, my spiritual experience is that I can function in whatever spiritual practice and still find my God. And my God, I have no monopoly on God. It's, we talk about consciousness, buzzword, shoot that shit down. I hate that buzzword. But that's conscious awareness of space and time, conscious awareness of where I am, conscious awareness of self. And no matter what spiritual practice I participate in, I can find conscious awareness of myself and full presence in myself. So that's what my spiritual life looks like today. And I found that through, self-work, personal inventory, blah, 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 all that 12-step shit. All that shit that I wish everybody can do. I wish everybody could do. Karen explained it so profoundly. What else am I going to talk about? What else? Hold on. Oh, I'm going to talk about suffering. We're talking about it right now. But the thing that made that switch flip in rehab and so years ago in Palm Springs, the thing that made that thing switch was utter defeat. Humiliation. Pretty sure humiliation is part of the word humility. Sounds like it. I don't know how to describe that. That's stupid. Let me see. Humiliation versus humility. While these two words are derived from the same root, they're on opposite ends of the spectrum in regards to the meaning. Humiliation is cause of pain, loss, pride, self-respect, or dignity. In contrast, humility means modest opinions of oneself. Ooh, let's break that down. So I had this specific humiliation. I could not look at myself in the mirror, nor did I want you to look at my life. I didn't want to look at my parents. It was very specific. I talk about that all the time. It's a very specific feeling to look at yourself in the mirror and you say, you piece of shit. Like I said, I couldn't not wear sunglasses. I had to wear sunglasses. I was like, I don't want you to see me. Please don't see me. Please don't see me. Now I'm in front of a camera. Please see me. Love me, please. But, that specific humiliation, I'm going to talk about that with people in that gift of desperation. See how I talk about this? I talk about normal people, and that's such a shitty, divisive way to explain it. But people can live with suffering for a long time, even if it's in their imagination. Call back, bum, bum, boop, 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 call back. People can live with suffering for a very long time. Some will die with suffering. People who are overweight, it's a good example. People who are overweight will suffer. They will suffer their joints. They will suffer their arteries. They will suffer their organs. They will sacrifice they will put themselves in a place where they need medication the rest of their lives, and then they will die that way. More people than not, almost 50% of the population, that will be their fate. Not all will die that way, but a large percentage. Heart disease is the major killer in this country, caused by diet, lack of exercise, food choices, cigarettes. Most people will suffer and die suffering. But the addict and alcoholic is lucky enough to have a very specific humiliation. And also, most drug addicts and alcoholics will die that way. And they will never have that gift. And then they'll never perceive that gift. They'll be offered that gift a number of times, but they may not be able to stop because that's the addictive nature. You're not being able to stop. I do this thing that I hate doing, and I cannot stop even though I want to stop. That's addiction. That's what it is. But I've been lucky enough to have a very specific humiliation that has made my life purposeful. And that has made my life so. And even in my addiction, the sex addiction, the lies, the cheating, the depression, the bipolar disorder, the mania, the fucking all that has now culminated into the work that I'm doing now, where all of that suffering, whether it be in my imagination or tangible, tangible imagination, that's something that's relative. We can travel down that, lane another time. But all of that suffering has made my life so purposeful and meaningful. So that's why the work I'm doing now does not feel like work. It's not shoveling sand. That's for damn sure. It takes a lot of bandwidth, but all of it means something. My whole entire life means something now. It's very specific humiliation, but that very specific humiliation has absolutely changed my life. So we're going to talk about that this week. A little brief synopsis. What else am I talking about? Personal responsibility. We've done a whole podcast on that. Take responsibility for yourself, bitch. Stop. Even me blaming. There was a moment in my life where I blamed white people for treating me like shit. I've blamed black people for not accepting me. I've blamed women for not giving me the attention that I wanted. I've blamed Benny for not, producing the podcast the way I wanted. I blamed my mom for saying one thing negative to me that she said in my entire life. There's one thing that I remember my mom saying that I have held against her for so long. I blame my dad for working as much as he did. Now I'm working as much as my dad did. I blamed everybody else. Fucking take responsibility for yourself. You're not responsible for your fucking trauma. We all got trauma. If you've been molested, if I go in a room, 100 people say, who's been molested? Everybody's raising their hand like, me. Fucking punk rock. We all getting molested. We're all suffering. Every woman deals with, some sort of, sexual trauma. I'm not diminishing the trauma, but we're responsible for the healing. Take responsibility for yourself. And that's not victim blaming. So fuck you if you're going to take it there. If you take that there, you're an asshole, because that's clearly not what I'm saying. I've been a victim of a number of hate crimes and a number of, crimes against me, violent crimes. I've been the victim of those things. So I'm not fucking victim blaming. But what I am saying is that you can get better, and it's up to you to get better. And these are all 12-step concepts. And these are things that I'm going to be talking about this week. These are all things that I learned that I didn't have when I was a young man. Didn't have even 3 years ago. Didn't think this way. I still blaming you. I was still blaming you. This girl I was lying and cheating and participating in a destructive life with, that I blamed her for that. And I was mad at her for like a year. I was like, this bitch. Nope, not her. Me. Not her. Fuck. I hate when I'm cuffing my shirt and unbuttons right there, and then it unbuttons forever right there. Once it unbuttons once, it's never gonna button back up, or it'll always pop. But my arms are so fucking thick that I can't, keep a shirt buttoned, bro. Shout out to wearing a 1X for when you were swollen, now wearing a 2X because you're fat. Shout out to that. Shout out to my dad being like, hey, your face is looking a little thick. Hey, Dad. Hey. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. That's one thing that's very liberating. I used to, when I was like fully in the fitness industry, because I'm still partly in the fitness industry, but I'm in the fitness industry as a level of personal development, not in the fitness industry as a fucking influencer, which is liberating. I never was, but there was I was striving to be. I was striving to look a certain way and post enough workout videos and look a certain way in order to attract more clients, because that's the game we're playing. And I just don't give a fuck about that anymore. And it's so liberating. I eat what I want. Sometimes I eat like shit. Sometimes I eat really well. I don't look terrible. I have a little bit of a belly, but I'm fucking big boy, thick boy season. It's so liberating to not worry about that anymore. Thank God, But it was useful. We all have tools. sex was something I needed. Fitness was something I needed to like myself. Self-esteem is built upon esteemable acts. A wise woman once told me that. That's another thing. All the things I'm talking about today are all stolen. None of these things are original thought. It's just my perception of this, my interpretation and application of my life. Karen made that very clear, and I was like, she blew the secret, but it's all regurgitation of somebody else's principles and other principles of a lifestyle that was so freely given to me, and this is just my interpretation and application. But esteem was built upon esteemable acts. Now I do esteemable acts. And there's a little bit of self-esteem. I often make fun of hating myself because I still, that's why all those buzzwords bother me. It's because it's like self-love, self-care. Fucking hate yourself like a normal person. Hey, shut up. Think, be modest. Understand that you're not the shit. And like, I'm an empowered, I am taking my power back. Shut the fuck up. Like, you're just a person. You're not special. Someone super close to me said that he's actually done the podcast months ago, but he was like, I'm not fucking special. And I was like, word, neither am I, dog. And neither are you with your crystals and your fucking meditation walks. You're not fucking special. You're not, and that's why those buzzwords, and I'll go through the buzzwords. Healing, I say that shit all the time. Alignment, say it all the time. The crystal thing, the astrology thing, Mercury's in retrograde. Fuck you. What else? What's another one? Manifestation. Fucking all these buzzwords, which some of them may ring true and perceivably true, because there's been a whole market on like the secret and how many books upon the secret that have come about. They're perceivably true or perceptionally true. I don't know which perceptionally perceived. Maybe I'm saying the same word. But if you believe in them, then they're true. So who cares? But to me, they're annoying because you're not fucking special. You're not special. You're just, you're doing good. And I'm happy you're doing good. I'm doing really good too. I don't think I manifested it though. I think I did the hard work. I think I struggled, and I think I kept moving my feet forward. That's what I think I did. Tell me how we're doing on time. This one's flying by. This was jam-packed with information, so let me know what we're doing on time. But what'd you say? 40 yo, so fast. This was jam-packed with gems. None of my original thought, because I'm not fucking special. This is just my perception of cool shit I get to hear every fucking day. I get to be inspired every day. So lucky. I'm so grateful. Very grateful. Very, very, very grateful. And I get to see duality. I get to see what this looks like in its worst form, and I get to see what it looks like in its best form. I get to see people shine. I get to shine. For the first time in my life. I didn't shine before. I was scream looking for a mouth. Man. And we'll end it on that. But the title of this podcast, doesn't matter what you're thinking. Doesn't matter what the fuck you're thinking. It matters what your feet are doing. So just remember that. It's about action. So we're going to end the podcast. Go to bigmoodcoach.com. Go to shop. We have Big Mood merch. We have HOE merch. I'm not taking new coaching clients. I'm about to go underway. So next week will be the last in-studio podcast for at least a month. And then we'll go remote. We'll go into the bunker and we'll record a number of podcasts in the bunker. Some weeks I may not be able to get it. I'm going to try my best to wake up first thing in the morning and get things going. And it's probably just going to be a vlog of how I'm doing. And you're probably going to watch my brain degrade and the degradation. Is that a word? I know degradation is a word, but maybe it doesn't fit. But you're probably going to watch me spin out, which I'm fine with. Everybody knows my business anyway, so, it's fine. But, yeah, we're going to wrap it up. And, Yeah, bigmoodcoach.com. Oh, yeah. Subscribe to this podcast. Subscribe. Don't just listen. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube. Subscribe, turn your notifications on, like, share, all that. We love this. I love this. So we're going to wrap it up. Peace.
Vultures circling above, they all in a piece, but they don't even know my name. Won't get even the swipe for the train. Cloudy, ride to the airport, gotta get right for the plane. Custom, smell like kush. Wifey hand in the tish. Yes, and I got no shame. Some rely on the shine. With a broke if you got no game. Waking up next to a scat. Can't go home to a dame. Nah, tell themselves they're the same. Really though, who can they blame? I don't blame them either. They just wanna play the game and they're eager still. I don't wanna know you. I'm busy. You don't even know thyself.